They won the competition that's taking place in Forum right now, but they won last year. And Olivia and Ayumi are going to be talking in English, of course, because they're amazing, about why they believe science is important and why they value it.
Hello. We as people have the right to know the truth, and science is the very art of modeling the truth. What is science? Science is much more than just a research. It's a method of uncovering the truth. It's a practice with no feelings nor bias involved. Science does not know itself, and it should not be altered by religion, gender, race, or money. We face so many problems today. The climate is changing, and those who can contribute the least and have the fewest resources are being hit the hardest. There are many million people of our own human race starving or living in the uncertainty of war or lack of water. Deforestation, ocean acidification, air pollution. You've all heard these before. We all want change, so this is where we call on science. But this is also where it so often goes wrong, because science faces a major problem of fundamental misunderstanding. The essence of science is not simply to create answers, but to ask and systematically address questions in search of uncovering the most likely truth. It is not the practice of confirming beliefs or looking for likable answers, but the exact opposite. Because while there is no shame at all in being wrong, being proven wrong, there is shame in knowing you're wrong and not changing your ways. So, if we are proven wrong by science, we are wrong, and we must learn to accept that this is no personal nor religious defeat.
And this is because science isn't easy, and it isn't supposed to be. It isn't fast, and it cannot be rushed. It requires unconditional funding, without interests, complete understanding, and active support. We can't withdraw our interests if and when science proves us wrong. It will be hard to make a change, and it will take time and all of us. But that's what we have each other and our wits for. Simply taking shorter showers or saving energy will not save the planet, not whatsoever. Finding solutions to the world's many problems requires many different factors, but the definitely most important is teamwork and discussion. We're not communicating with each other like we should. We're not challenging each other or ourselves. We all have some knowledge, ideas, or questions that the world could benefit from being spoken out loud, being yelled at the top of our lungs. So go home to your parents, to your teachers, and to your colleagues, and ask them what the world will do in 80 years, where the oceans have risen significantly, and climate change has made vast areas non-arable. Ask them what we'll do in 80 years, when we most likely will be 11.2 billion people, and that's 3.5 billion more than today, when already today there are 800 million starving human beings of our own race. Ask the adults what we'll do, and they don't know, because nobody knows yet. And the fact that we look away or pretend not to care or pretend that problems don't exist does not make them go away. That is at the very heart of evidence-based policy. But if we look back in history, if we look back in history, many of our greatest mistakes come from not thoroughly planning and testing ideas, from not communicating with each other about possible consequences, and from not deploying the proper scientific methods, but from acting in our own short-term interest. However, innovation and breakthroughs are the product of immense collaboration, and we need to both listen and be heard if we want progress. It's the only way to get forward. However,
If there is one source of action that has led to more problems than just oversimplifying issues or not thinking forward, it's doing nothing. We cannot afford to stay idle. We simply cannot not have an opinion on the matters that directly affect us. But who is to blame? Is it the politicians who often are not scientifically educated or advised? Or is it the scientifically illiterate people who don't always have one source of information that they can always wholeheartedly trust? While it may be really satisfying to blame the people who govern our countries, the majority of countries, especially among those who have the resources and abilities to create change, they are democratic. Politicians, they simply say what the people want to hear, and they work on and with the cases that people show personal interest in. But by choosing to fight for lower taxes or personal profit, we're simultaneously not choosing to fight for science or equality. If we really want change, we have to put our money where the mouth is. The core of our problem today is that too many people do not understand science or are unable to filter real science from fake news. Moreover, the world is trying to capitalize on our knowledge and our ignorance. While the truth isn't always convenient, there is one thing of priceless value to us all, and that is the quality and conservation of life. When we discuss scientific topics in the media, we have a tendency to kind of cram them in between royal affairs and movie reviews. But it's actually really worth remembering that actual human lives and non-human lives are on the line.
And the place where we're supposed to learn all of this, our schools, simply do not receive the investment and the acknowledgement they need. We have to stop perceiving the teacher education as some fallback option for those of us who don't fulfill our other dreams. Teachers need to be able to communicate vital knowledge and know-how to their students. We have access to just about all information right ready at our fingertips, so it's really not the job of a teacher to know things in detail. They are not just encyclopedias. Rather, and take this from a student, they have the full responsibility of making us inspired, skeptical, and curious beings who have the ability to gain knowledge. Schools are our very best chance of spreading science, and teachers are the backbone of our society. Not everyone can simply be a teacher. There are so many voices that tell us that we must act, do something about the world's problems, without giving us the slightest inclination of what to do, how and how much, when, where, or even why. But we can't navigate without a compass, and we're going to change that. So if you want to know more about precisely what's going on in the world, and what you can and what you must do about it, then swing by our stand at Science and Forum. We speak English, og vi taler dansk, and we will happily attempt to answer all of your questions, because that's science. Thank you.
Please give it up one more time. And this is what the future looks like. This is, I don't know what you felt, but I certainly felt moved and inspired to make a change. So impressed.